North Korea, if you can ignore all the horrible crimes and the treatment of its people, is actually really funny. Yes, that does make me sound like a lunatic, and no, you aren't strictly wrong. Basically, one guy was like, "I'm pretty sick, aren't I?" And everyone was like, "Yeah, you are." And then a bit louder after he loaded the gun again. And so, a God King was born, and we've seen 3 generations of it. I think it would be wrong for me to say that I aspire to be like Kim Jong-un. But tell me, haven't we all dreamed of becoming the leader of a nuclear-armed microstate? I think so. Well, why am I telling you about this? Excellent question. Well, did you know that North Korea makes anime? Yeah, it is an anime. In Korea, Annie refers to animated content from Japan, but is also colloquially used to refer to Korean anime as well. Ergo, this is animated, this is Korean, and therefore it's anime. Ah, checkmate. Anime works great at brainwashing people. People actually, for example, believe solo leveling is good. The CIA could only dream of that level of delusion to fact and reason. North Korea got ahead of that game by creating propaganda programming called Squirrel and Hedgehog. The only safe way to cover this show is if I do it, as I'm the only one who can resist this level of brainwashing. First, sadly, you're going to have to learn something. Oh, sorry, your favourite slop tuber and larper needs to impart some wisdom. I actually got called a larper the other day, and I wasn't sure how to feel about it. I, for the record, have been wanking to anime MILFs since before some of you have been born, so have some respect for us unks. As it's all we have left. North Korea is a nation in the Korean peninsula. Shocking, I know. After World War II and the scramble for ideology in post-war era, with its proximity to both communist China and occupied capitalist Japan, Korea played host to a power struggle between both sides. During the war, there was a resistance leader by the name of Kim Il-sung, who fought against the Japanese as resistance, and then later as part of the Soviet Red Army after having to flee Korea. In 1945, the Soviets declared war on the Japanese to snap up some territories, and they claimed the north part of Korea. After having literally, and I mean this is not a joke, no one actually qualified to be the leader, they went with Kim, as he was kind of popular. In 1950, the North invaded the South, and a 3-year conflict began. Something that can be adequately summarised as pretty fucking nightmarish. And it concluded where it all started, at the exact same parallel on the map. Ah, fuck. Then they established the demilitarised zone and the ongoing pseudo-war that we have until this day. Squirrel and Hedgehog is a show that was broadcast in 1977, but by the quality of this animation, I would forgive you for believing it was made by 2 cavemen stuck in a room bashing rocks together. It uses a lot of the early years of the state as inspiration, as well as promoting the idea of continued readiness with the ongoing hostilities between the North and the South. For a country where homosexuality is illegal, they sure made one of the gayest posters in history. Telling the story of Flower Hill, which is actually where the gays sprout from. Well, you didn't hear that from me, as it's a secret of the state. It's basically as a show that means to teach children the dangers of imperialism and capitalism. Sorry. And more importantly, never to trust those dastardly weasels. I don't need to go into details, but with me and the weasels, we've been beefing for a long, long time, and with plenty of casualties on both sides. We up, though. My favourite part was this guy getting his can't sleep wank off before being interrupted by an enemy raid. How relatable. It turns out it's a musical, and then further fails to beat the gay allegations by depicting acons like delectable testicles. Here's my working theory. I'm fairly sure this was an elaborate ruse by some proto-furry to find a reason to make a fursuit on regime time. A bear turns up, who is the allegory for Russia, if you're slow, arming North Korea against those weasels who send mice to spy on the big party. Oh, fucking weasels! This is ironically the most fun I've had watching a show, and arguably has better character growth than most of the anime I've covered. The first episode sets up the idea of the squirrels being vulnerable to attack by the weasels. Ooh, South Korea. They are at first content with the bear, Russia, providing them with the means to scare away the weasels. However, there's a disagreement between the squirrel and the hedgehog, who I've named Spike Dudley, as he represents the army, and the squirrels are content to leave Flower Hill security down to Uncle Bear. They invite everyone round for a feast, as they represent the rest of the Soviet bloc, who are up against those dastardly capitalists. Sorry. As well as all the different workers that live on Flower Hill. They decide that being together is the best. However, Spike Dudley says that we can't rely on the bear to protect us, and we have to do it ourselves. Uncle Bear, the big miserly cunt, is like, "What do you mean? I will scare them away." It's Arnold now, fuck it. "You can't do anything by yourself." And Spike is like, "Oh yeah, bet. When me and Duck Air Force/Navy start working together, then you'll see." Wolf, why bring up the first bit of plot on episode 1? That's because I watched 2 seasons of Ari Ferretta in the last video, and I've experienced more plot development in a show designed to brainwash children. What a fucking embarrassment. Anyway, well, check in with me at the end of the video, and feel free to comment and subscribe, and speculate how well I'm going to resist the propaganda. Let's post a little comment on the channel I'm watching it on. Feel free to come agree with me. Ah yes, what wonderful nostalgia of my childhood. Being a sleeper agent in the decadent West sure is tough. Like this, my fellow comrades, the revolution is nigh. I'm actually having fun, believe it or not. It's a shame, as I actually had the plot of the show spoiled for me by real life, as I happen to know that Flower Hill will be struck by crippling food shortages and force all the people to eat grass at the roadside. Few things I've noted that the residents of Flower Hill need to address. No nuclear arms. Come on, lads. Get the koalas on the research and development. Maybe kidnap a few scientists. Here's a fun fact. North Korea likes to kidnap people. At one point, they were even kidnapping directors and actors from Japan. That would have been a shock to the system. I know a few isekai authors that will be far better off in work camps, and who knows, the new environment may help them write something that's not total fucking fox piss. This all watches and reads like something I'd make up to fuck around in a video. Listen to this. The weasels figure out the best way to kill Mr. Bear is to give him poisoned booze because he's an alcoholic. If that's not a wolf-coded line, then I don't know what is. Mr. Bear is like, "Oi, you think I am going to fall for old poison booze trick? Scramble, bleh!" But then again, I am awfully thirsty. Then the weasels attack. "Oh, Mr. Bear, come quick!" Oh no, Mr. Bear is shit-faced, and I think he's dead. Squirrel Chan gets captured, and Spike Dudley is like, "What a dumbass, guess I'll go save him." He conducts a textbook wolf-patented tree ambush. If you don't know how to do this, then please, let me demonstrate. What you do is you just get up there, and okay, and then you just go, "Yeah!" This guy's smashing the weasels. Holy shit! Where's this guy power scale? The ducks are my favourite, because they love wearing little hats like I do. The mice perilously cross the duck bridge, which is dangerous, as if someone throws just a single piece of bread, you're fucked. Oh, sick, another song. Episode 2, the weasels are plotting again. "Send in the crows." Wait, did they just Sonic roll? Wait, what came out first? Sonic, how could you? We can't tell Christine about this. No one mention it. The squirrels actually pull off some pretty slick shit here. They find out that the mice are pretending to be squirrels with outfits, so they replace a fake squirrel with a real squirrel in a bamboozle, and they get the battle map. I think we get the boss battle with the end from Metal Gear Solid 3, except he can't change the date and win. Holy shit, what was that? Let's get a replay. knife through the ears to stop him going underground, and then fucking ragdolled him like a Mortal Kombat fatality. Fuck! You know what? This is great, and I promise I'm not being brainwashed. Here's a little kernel of hard truth. I'm genuinely having more fun than watching Solo Leveling. You can keep your Sun Jin Woo being as charismatic as fossilised horseshit. We got this guy toting the blick. Right, neurodivergent side quest number 1. Can just be standing around be considered peak? He's not a hero, he's loitering. It basically just involves a guy getting beat up for the first part of the series. If I wanted to watch someone continually lose, then I'd just look in the mirror. Then he just smokes everyone with bullshit arse-pulls of magical items, potions and level ups. I will admit it, and don't comment how pathetic I am, but I've never leveled up. I've trained for years, but my status just says I'm still classified as a twat. This won Anime of the Year. The worst Sun Jin Woo goes through is a bit of light trauma. This is normal in Britain. We're used to statues killing us. You know who's a real hero? Mr. Squirrel. Our hero overcame his injuries of escape through sheer love and desire for Flower Hill, not some levelling system. This is inspirational, that's what it is. At this point, Sun Jin Woo would have said arise and created a perfectly sized magical beast to escape the hole. This guy's crawling and strangling people in tunnels like a Victorian serial killer. You can keep your shit K-pop too, as I feel another musical number coming. All of a sudden, there's an English dub, and it came out of completely nowhere. I thought the communist conditioning had worked and I'd finally gone mad. Who did the dub for this? North Koreans, I assume, with a limited handle on the English language, or they're completely wasted with Uncle Bear. It's actually an auto-dub system, and I noticed it when they said weasels, and it auto-dubbed to change the word to Japanese. Does weasel mean Japanese in Korean? I don't know. Is this wordplay, or have I just inadvertently discovered that YouTube is working for North Korea? Holy shit. I'm honestly starting to feel sorry for the weasels here, which I think is a failure in the propaganda thing. The hedgehogs have tanks and shit. This is not fair at all. Tell you what, this one's for you, North Korea. I will do a bit of this dub so we're even from all of those missiles I shot down with my Wolf Cave missile defense system. Oh mate, where the fuck have you been? I've done me arm. You are a great hero, lad, and you've been granted double grass-eating rations for a week. All of you men have fought hard and with ferocity. I allot the rest of you to drink any condensate on your grass, and not have to ring it into the party collection vat. Hooray for condensate! Yay! Squirrel and Hedgehog video game adaptation when? Look, I don't know if this is technically racist, but with all the different characters of Squirrel and Hedgehog, they all kind of look the same and I can't tell them apart. The continued conflict between the Weasels and Flower Hill continues to add new ops to the list, including mice, moles and crows. Fun fact, the mole thing isn't just kid show stuff, but a genuine problem. The North is known for digging holes under the DMZ zone and sneaking into the South. They even utilise ground detection devices to find evidence of new tunnels and close them. Look at me teaching again. Yes, knowledge. One thing to note about the whole North and South thing, and please believe me when I say that propaganda isn't working on me, but the presentation of the South in history has been skewed heavily by the media we're exposed to. South Korea was in a military dictatorship until 1987. When did I learn this? Literally 5 minutes ago as I researched this video. My understanding of Korean history was this: bad historical K-dramas, the war, and then straight to Gangnam Style. I thought it was a democracy versus dictatorship thing, but no, it was dictator versus dictator. Even recently there was an attempt at a military coup in South Korea that failed pretty badly. Well, what I'm saying is that South Korea needs to make their own Squirrel and Hedgehog with their side of the story. as I can only understand geopolitics through the medium of anime. The political turmoil in the South is reflected in Squirrel and Hedgehog, which is weird, as North Koreans, famously, not exposed to much news. I could write "fuck off on the moon" and they still wouldn't hear about it. The weasels are depicted as constantly backstabbing each other and trying to steal each other's powers, whereas Flower Hill are united behind the leadership of Spike Dudley, even though, technically, no leader is officially presented, because no one has a little portrait of his face above the mantle. I hadn't noticed that they introduced a female hedgehog, so I don't speak Korean, and they make the voice of critters. The double agent of Mr. Squirrel pretending to work for the weasels is the most common plot mechanism, and if it's anything like the moles being real, it makes you consider the amount of North Koreans who infiltrate the South. This, of course, could just be a bluff, and a way to keep children's show interesting. But it makes you think. This is apparently on IMDb a 4 out of 10, which leads me to believe that there are agents of the decadent South review bombing the great works of our dear... Sorry, I don't know what that was, forgive me. This is great, I don't know what they're all talking about. I'd have loved this as a kid. It's got violence, explosions, and gay forest animals. What more could you wish for? This is very clearly for North Korean furries, and they aren't even trying to hide it. Those are fuck me eyes from the duck, and don't you dare deny it. There's a genuine scene where one of the weasels contemplates shooting himself for an hour, which is very, very funny in a kids show. He dips after smashing the duck, and what is going on? I believe the duck unironically does blackface to hide as a crow, which is the least weird thing about this episode, so I guess it's fine. It turns out that women can girl boss for the dear leader too, and she drags a mouse underwater to drown him, and, in a final act of desperation, destroys the secret documents by pulling the pin on the grenade. Fuck, she's dead. Shit. Mr. Squirrel grieves for her, but can't kill the people who did her in, because he's still undercover. This is way better than Solo Leveling, and I'm not even taking the piss anymore. I'm noticing a theme here. In episode 20, yes, I have watched all of them, another duck is sent undercover and flies a helicopter into a super weapon in some sort of kamikaze attack. I'm noticing that only the women are dying. Marks down for you, Mr. Authoritarian Regime. We get lots of, "No, I must leave your comrade" scenes for the benefit of Flower Hill. Remember, propaganda. The state is the most important factor in brainwashing. I wasn't sure what he had here, and I thought he was threatening to bottle his enemies. "Come here, you fucking bastard!" But no, they're grenades. The robot enemies were admittedly a sudden change, and I think they're supposed to represent overcoming the technological discrepancy that was growing ever wider between the North and the South. But who knows? Episode 24, the stakes are ramping up as we hurtle towards the finale. The weasel leader shot himself, literally on camera, but no, it was all a ruse to lure the enemies who came to his funeral and discuss who's going to be new leader. This was actually pretty smart for a kids show, and in a very cool piece of imagery, the picture of whose funeral it is switches. Imagine if they faked Scooby-Doo's death to lure in Scrappy for an against-the-wall execution. It's kind of like that. Oh no, a final general assault on Flower Hill is set to begin. Someone clearly kidnapped from somewhere shows up to add CGI to a bowling scene and nothing else. Time well spent. That's half of North Korea's budget pissed in the wind. Half the country didn't eat after using their budget for that. Nice one, lads. They have a video game war as they battle plan for the invasion, where obviously Mr. Squirrel fucking ruffle stomps the weasel and sends him back to the tutorial where he belongs. The two squirrels realise that they're going to die in their undercover operations, as disrupting the operations of the weasels will result in their execution for poor performance. But, as the brave souls of Flower Hill, they're going to do it anyway. Fortunately, his homeboy turns up and starts blasting. This stupid rat never learns his lesson, as he's like, "Haha, I finally vanquished Mr. Squirrel." Obviously, he's not dead, as I think this lad could survive being flash fried by a neutron star at this rate. My favourite, obviously, is Spike Dudley, as one of his subordinates comes up to him and is like, "Oh, leader, we believe Mr. Squirrel has been killed by the enemy." And he's like, "Don't be so fucking stupid, of course he's alive." I feel like we've lost the core identity of Squirrel and Hedgehog with the introduction of robot battles. As we all know, the true heart and soul of Squirrel and Hedgehog is the sexual tension between garden rodents. We get some good old-fashioned ultraviolence, and the evil weasel is like, "What? You would die for the sake of your homeland?" He's like, "Hell yeah, brother. Flower Hill till I die, represent." That was very white of me, sorry. In the finale, the weasels decide that there was a big mistake trying to invade and take over Flower Hill, so really, they should just nuke it instead. Obviously, this parrots North Korea's desires to get their own nuclear weapons at the time. I personally never signed the treaty where they all limited their nuclear arsenals, so I still think I have mine in a cupboard somewhere in the Wolf Cave complex. To disrupt the nuclear launch, Mr. Squirrel, who I fucking told you didn't die earlier, you should have believed me, takes a joyride to the base in a tank, and he starts mowing people down, which was pretty funny, before crashing the tank directly into the command centre. He gives chase with some real James Bond shit. Fun fact, this is how I get around most of the time. It's important to use one of those bomb-checking mirrors to see if there's a wolf clinging to your chassis. Mr. Squirrel resets the targets of the nukes to the weasel's own territory, and oh no, he's got the bottles again. "I'll fucking bottle you, you cunt." We get a gnarly gunfight where pretty much everyone gets shot, before Mr. Squirrel forces the leader weasel to nuke his own civilization in a pretty unnecessary flex, before SEAL Team shit save them. The recon team unite in the helicopter, and they fly off into the sunset, receiving lethal amounts of radiation in the process. There's actually a season 2, remarkably. I assume they pick up where the last one left off, through the ashen remains of civilization, as the global food and energy crashes force a plunge into a new dark age. Nice one, you little squirrel twat. Wow, wasn't that fun? There's actually a bigger season 2 where wolves are the enemies, and I suddenly remember why I haven't been allowed back to North Korea in so long. If you had good learnings and neuron activation, hit the subscribe button and share to your most degenerate of friends. If anyone from the North Korean government wants to reach out to me, then my personal address is... So, the conditioning always got me. You always got me. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Nice try. Not this time. Anyway, bye.